on, everyone? Texas Platinum is back this week for the Texas Tech game. The Longhorns take on the Raiders out in Lubbock for the first road test in the start of Big 12 play. We're currently on Quinn Ewers' watch to see if he makes his triumphant return for this game. Certainly hoping that is the case. But yeah, we're going to preview the game ahead as well as kind of reflect on the UTSA game, which certainly had some ups, but some downs too, especially at the start of the game. And that's kind of what our show is going to look like. We'll start with UTSA, transition into Tech. Before we begin, though, as always, we ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps continue to grow our channel. And, you know, as we've been saying in the past videos, we're really kind of pushing forward with this season now in progress. We're hoping to continue to provide you the regular weekly content that you seek and crave. So make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. Guys, nice to have everyone here. Nice to have Madrid back, the busy law man himself.
Busy law man.
Yeah. So what are we thinking in terms of, let's review the UTSA game. Let's start with just initial thoughts on the game. Madrid, since you missed last week, how about you kick it off?
First off, I think it's kind of wild that was the third highest attendance in Texas history.
Yeah.
For UTSA for that. I mean, granted, it's probably because a lot of UTSA fans went there, but I don't know. I feel like that's a real renewed interest in the program for a lot of people. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it was noticeable too. I got to go to that game and it was just like, man, I'm really like squeezing in here. But overall, I'm happy with that performance. I know a lot of fans and a lot of people I know are like, real hesitant and apprehensive to say anything good about that win. But I'm sure we'll all touch on it. But last year we lose that game. We absolutely fold and lose that game, man. After the double pass, it's over. Like we're cooked. We don't believe in ourselves and we count ourselves out and we lose that game. I'm just happy to see. I'm just happy to see us take care of an inferior opponent. Like that was really, as easy as that sounds, and as normal as that should sound. It has been normal for us. We're more talented than them at every aspect, maybe outside the quarterback position, and the score reflected that. So I really like the mentality that we finished that game with, and I liked what I saw generally.
Nice. Myers, how about you?
Yeah, that was definitely a tale of two halves. And yeah, you're so right. That's a game that we lose last year for sure, or at least make it a
very uncomfortably close.
Yeah, heart attack down the stretch. But I give the team credit because we saw last year's team out there. I mean, the Bama hangover was real, and we talked about it all week. The media kept asking Sark, like, are they going to be ready off that Bama game? And then Sark seemed like thought they'd be ready, and they still came out slow. And part of that's because UTSA, that was their Super Bowl. And like when I say that, I mean that. Like they have to play at the University of Texas the first time. So that's a big deal. And they definitely had their game plan. Great, they're a well-coached team and super talented as well. So it wasn't going to be a give me anyways, but we still shouldn't let them get that lead early on and just kind of push us around the first quarter. But I love to see our defense respond. After that double pass, we outscored them 31-3 after the onside and trick play touchdown. So it's good to see us rallying through adversity because last year we didn't do that ever. And I know it's UTSA, but those are good signs of a team that's maturing. And also this game like really made me realize that I think in a weird way, it's a good way. It's a good thing that we lost to Alabama because let's say we do sack Bryce Young at the end and then the time runs out and they don't hit a field goal and we win. We beat Alabama. We're like top 5 in the country. And then we play UTSA and the same thing happens. But then we go to Tech as like a top 5 team. And this team is just not mature or old enough yet to handle. We already have a target in our backs, the University of Texas. And if we were like a top 5 team right now, plus having just the hatred villain role that we already possess, I think it would just be a lot for these young guys, especially without Quinn right now. So I think it's a good thing because it kind of keeps our team focused and under the radar. They're not drinking the Kool-Aid, and especially after UTSA came and punched us in the mouth. So I think it was a good thing for us. And then a lot of our players stepped up. I mean, Hudson Card, we've hated on him in the past, and he didn't light the world on fire, but he did enough to win. You just want him to get better or quicker with decision making, but he didn't turn the ball over. He moved the offense enough to put up 41 points. So that's all you can ask for from the backup quarterback, and definitely instilled a little more confidence in me as a fan and him going forward, like if we have to play him. But I do think Quinn Ewers will be back this week, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. But yeah, a lot of players played great. Roshan Johnson, I mean, that guy is the spirit of Texas football. I mean, Bijan and him together, it's a sight to see. And Bijan was grimacing whenever he got up from a tackle, it seemed like, if you go and rewatch the game. So he's not fully healthy, but he still put up huge numbers. Like, he will. I mean, Bijan's exceptional. So yeah, a lot of things to clean up though. DeMarvion Overshown, as the time we're filming this right now, we don't know if he's going to play or not in the first half against Texas Tech, because the Big 12 appeal is taking their sweet time with it. But hopefully that wasn't targeting. Hopefully it gets overturned, because we're going to need DeMarvion and Lubbock. But yeah, a lot of players stepped up. I'm trying to think in particular of any guys on defense. I mean, Jalen Ford keeps.
I was going to say Jalen Ford is growing so fast.
Yeah, and that brings up another thing I noticed. Like, whenever we don't have DeMarvion and Jalen Ford in there at linebacker, like, it seems like we rotate them out a lot. Whenever they're not in there and we have Jet Bush in there, it's just like night and day. Like, the defense doesn't really have the depth yet at linebacker. I like some things we see out of Dorian or Diamante Tucker Dorsey, but we need to definitely address that through the portal or recruiting or development. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm being nitty gritty, details right now, but overall it was a great performance, and it's kind of what we needed, honestly. So everybody stayed healthy for the most part. So you got to love that. And now it's conference play. Like Sark said, the preseason's over, and now it's the real season. And Texas Tech is a team that, I mean, it's our last time going to Lubbock, probably, is in a long time. So it's
that's not true. We'll be playing Lubbock, Texas Tech rather. Whenever we joined the SEC, we entered into a agreement with them on that, so we'll be playing them every year. Not in Lubbock every year, but yeah.
No, I thought I don't know if that's confirmed yet. I remember
there
was a big deal about that. How Texas, yeah, it's not confirmed. Texas, like, that was thought to be a thing, and then Texas kind of pulled out of that, and then Texas Tech got upset about it. So I'll double check though. Y'all can go comment the update on that, because I know there's a lot of drama around that. But yeah, either way, this will be our last time playing them as a Big 12 member in Lubbock in a long time. So, or ever, I should say. So it's going to be definitely a hostile environment for Sark and our young team to handle.
If I could just jump in real quick, I wanted to hop on the Hudson Card comments you had. I think a lot of us fans kind of, I don't want to say wrote him off, but we're like, get that guy away from me at the beginning of the season, because we wanted Quinn so bad. And obviously Quinn is better, but we don't win that game without him, I think. Or it's not as comfortable without him. And that guy clearly wants to be here, and he clearly wants to, make this program better. His teammates love him. Sark loves him. Like, I think we need to ease up a little bit. I mean, we can have our favorite, you know what I mean? But like, I know I'm kind of guilty in the past, like, yeah, get that guy out of my face. But like, nah, like, that guy is a godsend, and the guy does the dirty work, and I appreciate him. So I love you, Hudson Card.
Yeah, every team, I feel like, kind of, no disrespect with this term, but needs a bus driver quarterback as a backup, and he certainly fits that bill well, which is weird because he has the potential to be so much more than a bus driver. But for now, in that role, he's doing well at it. He hasn't turned the ball over, hasn't done anything stupid, has been real smart with the football, getting rid of it, taking runs whenever he can. Had a really big one against UTSA. So he's certainly living up to the billing. I mean, yeah, is our deep ball game completely shot? Yes. Yeah, passing game in general, like, I don't know if we even really, I'm curious how many attempted passes there were in the second half of
Wasn't a
that
lot,
game. Honestly, like I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure there were some screens, but definitely none down the field, at least that I can think of. So yeah, it's very clear that our offense is entirely different with him in it. And against opponents like a UTSA and maybe even a Texas Tech, that might be okay. But yeah, it's very important that we get Quinn back and get him healthy as soon as possible, because at some point we will encounter a team in the Big 12 that is capable of putting up a lot of points. Tech could be one of these teams. Maybe not, but there's always the possibility. They have the potential to do that. So at some point we're gonna have to get that deep ball back, and I don't know if it's Card's inability to do so, or if Sark just really does not trust him whatsoever and doesn't tells him don't do it. But yeah, he's been good for us so far with getting by and managing, and also, yeah, like Madrid said, I think it's important that you have that mature voice whenever you have your QB1 go out, because if Hudson Card did not play and it was the Charles Wright show, even if Charles Wright performed better than Card would have, Charles doesn't at this point, at least from what I can tell. I mean, I don't know the behind the scenes and chemistry of the team, but I can tell that Hudson's a lot more respected by everyone on the team. Is very, very not close maybe, but everyone knows Hudson at this point. And I don't know if Charles quite has that voice in the locker room yet, to where if he needed to come in, he could comfortably lead the team. Again, not calling anyone out here and not saying that I know, things that aren't on the surface, but yeah. That's kind of my thoughts. Last thing that I wanted to touch on in terms of the UTSA game is we made some pretty good adjustments in the second half, especially on defense. Defensively, I don't know what the heck the game plan was, but we were playing the softest coverage ever.
They were letting them have the boundary like that. I don't understand.
Just
that's what led to those long drives.
Yeah, our safety play, we were playing 5 yards off every time. Yeah, and that that, like you just said it, that's what led to those super long drives, is we would just let them catch the ball. I mean, yeah, we stopped big plays from happening, which is good, but you're just gonna get sliced up. If you continue to do that. And then we finally started pressing, into the second half. But I mean, that combined with UTSA's burning desire to come in and, play, the upset story of the year in their big game, I think is what led to us getting down so bad. The onside kick was something that I kind of saw coming. I was surprised that we weren't at least a little bit prepared for that. And then the double pass I saw from a mile away personally, and I'm just like, come on, Ryan Watts. First off, don't just try tipping it, because that doesn't always work.
Ryan Watts get kind of cooked in the first half, man. I was like, you had a great game versus Bama, now you getting beat down the sideline by some UTSA receivers. Granted, they're solid receivers, but bro, you're getting beat on a 9 route right now. Yeah. And you're lucky they got an illegal shift flag, or it would have been a touchdown, dude.
Right.
I don't know. And then you totally should have tipped that ball in the double pass. He just kind of got lazy with it. It was just kind of, oh, man.
He could have picked that thing off. I feel like, just jump up and grab it. Instead, I don't know. It was one of those weird starts that it looked like there's doom and gloom for our team, and it kind of looked like one of those unraveling situations where even great players like Ryan, just get lost and freak out, and then we lose the game. That's what it was looking like. But yeah, the shift certainly was I think a sign of a more mature team, a better united team, and a team that ultimately trusts the coaching staff. and just a better, coaching staff knowing to make those adjustments rather than continuing to stick to the game plan that they had, which was an interesting game plan, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because we just, again, I guess we wanted to play the contain game, but I don't know. With a lesser team like UTSA, I don't know why you can't just be a little more aggressive, especially after we did that and did so well against Alabama last week. Why you would want to change kind of the MO of what you were doing so well. So
I'll say that Frank Harris is really, really good. No matter what we did, he had an answer for the most part, and it was really annoying. We would blitz the right guy and be there in 2 seconds, and he'd roll out and throw it on the run. Like, he was a really good quarterback. He was better than Bryce Young, at least, and he seemed more impressive than Bryce Young did. I mean, it's a 6-year senior, so it's going to be nice playing a quarterback like Donovan Smith this week, who, I mean, he could go off. I mean, it's, in the past, random quarterbacks could go off on us, but it's going to be nice playing not Frank Harris this week. I'll say that.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback, man. I remember seeing that guy in high school. Dude, you saw that guy in high school. That's how long that guy's been in college.
Really?
Yeah, he was a basketball player. Yeah, that guy had been battling injuries since he got to UTSA, so it's finally good to see him string together like 2 really good seasons. It's just a shame that it's going to come to an end. Look, UTSA is not winning that conference. Maybe they are, but I don't think they got the pieces to win that conference again. They were loaded with older talent last year, and that's what kind of propelled them. And I don't know. I think he deserves better, but it's I tip my hat to him, and he is crazy. He's crazy good. And if I could just add another thing, like after the game, I just want to talk on like the culture real quick. You know what I've noticed? Like on the players' social medias and just the way they interact with each other, they're always like commenting on each other's posts or posting each other's highlights and just like in each other's comments. Just by that is just night and day of like last year's team. I firmly believe now that last year's team was just a team of individuals. They did not care to like actually hang out with each other or even want to win together. They just were all there to do a job and leave, like, or in a bad job at that. Like, I don't know. It's kind of refreshing to see like, oh, these guys at least like each other. You know what I mean? Like, this is it's refreshing, and I'm glad that we have that type of mentality, because that's the type of mentality that you need to get out of a 17-7 hole in the first half. So I think that's really cool.
Well said, Myers. Any final points?
No, that's a good point, Madrid. Sark's talked about that. He said that he didn't build a good culture last season, and he really worked on getting the team to just be more just team focused and more of a tight-knit group, and you can see it on the field and on social media, and just the energy they play with, the way they rely to the ball together, especially on defense. So definitely an improved locker room. I mean, last year, just think about the Bo Davis video when we were getting everybody quit against Iowa State. So we've come a long way culturally. We battled through adversity against UTSA. We're going to see more adversity probably Saturday. So hopefully they keep getting closer together.
Amen.
Awesome. One more thing I do want to touch on real quick with UTSA, but I'll keep it short. Our run blocking needs to improve dramatically and in a very short time, because the fact that we continue to struggle so much. I mean, yes, Bijan did pop off.
Bijan does all the work. That's why.
Exactly. Those runs. Okay, well, actually, you know what? One of those runs really did have very good blocking on it, but I feel like all of his big plays are runs to the outside, and we never can really run up the middle ever. And again, like, it's working whenever we run to the outside, so that's good to know that we can do it. But if we want to continue to, call these plays where we're running up the middle and we're only getting like 2-3 yards every time, like, that's just not going to cut it, especially against like a UTSA that I know, like, they were super hyped up for this game and everything, but like, you have Bijan and Roshan Johnson. Like you should be averaging like 5 yards on some of these against some of these, lesser teams. Even when you run up the middle. So I don't know. I don't know why our run blocking is so bad right now. Our pass blocking has been great, best I've seen in years, which is surprising because that was piss poor last season. So while our pass blocking has improved a ton, we really got to find a way to get this run blocking better. And maybe that's just the inexperience of the guards that we have right now. That would be my inclination. Not that I'm someone that really watches our O line super closely. Maybe I should, but yeah, that needs to be addressed immediately, beginning with Texas Tech, because Texas Tech actually has a pretty good run defense, at least based off of their numbers and everything so far. They haven't really played any great teams, in my opinion, but that'll be a good test this Saturday.
I think getting Quinn back will really help that, because then you'll have an RPO
That too.
game that's way better than
Yeah.
Hudson Card's RPO game, which freezes the linebackers and people around the line of scrimmage. And then also the deep ball should be more consistent, you would think, with Quinn. So hopefully that helps. But even when Quinn was in, our O-line does need to improve a little bit with the run blocking. I agree, Trevor.
Madrid, anything, or we good to move
Nah,
on?
I agree with that. I watched all of Bijan's highlights. There's so many times where he made a guy miss like in between the tackles when we just lost a guard, just lost his guy, and it's like, oh man,
Yeah,
Bijan doesn't do that. That's a zero gain, or it's a loss of one.
I mean, and there are a lot of runs that are for no gain that just get completely blown up in the backfield, and I'm like, I thought we were maybe not that we're beyond this, but again, like the fact that our pass
Should be the
blocking
easy
has
part.
improved so much, it's very confusing that our run blocking is struggling so much. So I'm sure they noticed that, and that they need to address it, because if you can give Bijan and Roshan like good running lanes, like you're gonna have
house calls right there.
you're gonna have a dominant team if we can just improve our run blocking. So
Agreed.
all right, let's transition over to the actual Texas Tech game. Saturday afternoon. Thank goodness it's an afternoon game, because night games in Lubbock are not ones to be trifled with, especially with a sold out crowd. Their first sellout that they've had since we were there in 2018, so right before the pandemic. Big game. First conference test for Texas. Myers, how about you? As you always do in these videos, kind of give us your breakdown on the Texas Tech team, some players we should look out for, and kind of what we should expect from their offense and defense.
Yeah, of course. First of all, I have to say I'm very excited for this game. We said last video that the next two games, UTSA and Texas Tech, will tell us everything about this team. And I still feel like that's true. If Texas plays well and goes and gets a good win at Texas Tech, I think that's a very good sign on what the season is going to be, because it's a tough team. I mean, Texas Tech is, I mean, they're not a great team, but they're good enough to beat you. Plus, it's in Lubbock, where it's hard to win, and it's going to be a sellout like it always is whenever we come to town. So it's going to be a very hostile environment, and we're not sure the status of Quinn Ewers and, just all that stuff. With that in mind, it's going to be a tough game to win. Texas Tech, I mean, the strength of their team is their defense. I mean, they have a really experienced secondary, but they have also a really good D line out of nowhere. Texas Tech fans were telling me they didn't even expect to have this good of a pass rush, but out of nowhere, kind of like us, honestly.
Yeah.
They just have in the first couple of weeks, have been really good at getting to the quarterback and just kind of dominating the O-line. I mean, it's Tyree Wilson. He's the guy that I believe transferred in from Texas A&M. He's number 19. He's their best player by far on the team. He's working his way up into being a first-round draft pick at this rate, because if you go back and watch that NC State game, like, you can tell who he is without even having to know, without even pointing out his number. You can tell he's huge and he's fast, and he's going to be a problem for us. And they also have Krishan Merriweather at linebacker, who's been there forever, but that's a really just a good Big 12 linebacker that is good in coverage. He can also tackle. And then they also have Muddy Waters, I believe, which is probably the greatest name of all time. But yeah, their defense is just very surprisingly very good. Texas Tech, you usually think of the offense first. Offensively, it's got to be frustrating for them because my buddy was saying like they have these great players at receiver, and they do, like Jaron Bradley, Loic Fungi, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Miles Price, and they still have Sir Roderick Thompson and Taj Brooks in the backfield, two really good running backs. And it's just, the problem is, first of all, Donovan Smith is he's very up and down. I mean, against U of H, he was like Big 12 Player of the Week, but he also had like the lowest QBR of of the Big 12 that week, which made no sense. And then against NC State, he's just throwing interceptions. He struggles with making reads and decisions. He's a young quarterback, and he's kind of coming into his own still. I mean, he wasn't the starter originally. It was supposed to be Tyler Shuck again, who got hurt. So that's kind of slowed down the progress of that offense. And their O-line as well has been absolutely abysmal, like worse than the Big 12. And they've dealing with injuries on the O-line as well. So it's kind of a work in progress on that offense, but the pieces are there to eventually become a really good unit, especially with Zach Kitley. I think that's a great offensive coordinator hire they got from Western Kentucky. He's the one that produced Bailey Zappi and Jarrett Stearns at HBU in Western Kentucky. So they're going to put up points. They haven't yet, but I'm sure by the end of the season they'll be rolling. But I think that with that said, there's a lot of vulnerabilities on this team that Texas can exploit. We can dominate that O-line, and then hopefully, get Donovan Smith, force some turnovers. He throws a bunch of interceptions, a bunch of incompletions. So, like I said, he's not Frank Harris, but I mean, he can run, and we just struggle whenever Bryce Young and Frank Harris ran. So we have to be wary of that. Hopefully DeMarvion plays, but yeah, Texas Tech is I feel like it's a good matchup for us. I feel like we can win this game, but I mean, we just got to make sure we bring our A game.
Madrid?
Yeah, so I like that you kind of touched on the inconsistent quarterback play. Let me read you what Donovan Smith has done in the last two games, okay? 5 interceptions,
Ooh.
10 sacks, and
Yikes.
37 incompletions. Okay. Like, it is probably... We probably have at least 2 interceptions or at least 2 turnovers. Those like, oh, we almost got him, like with Frank, like last game. Those are gonna hit this game. I'm telling you, they're gonna hit this game. It's crazy to me that So Roderick is still there. I feel like that guy's been there forever.
I know.
He's a good running back.
He's your guy.
It is my guy. When I saw him on the roster, when I saw him on a highlight last week, I was like, oh my God, he's alive. He's still there. But yeah. I was reading some articles from some of the I forget what tech website it was, but anyways, Joey McGuire, head coach, was talking about rotating quarterbacks. I think they have been rotating quarterbacks, but even doing even more so right now for this game with the I think it's the freshman, the future. What's his name again? I think it's like Morton.
Yeah, Morton. Something Morton.
Yeah, Morton. That guy is supposed to be the guy of the future for them, but he's just too young still. And then he even talked about if Tyler, how do you pronounce it?
Shuck, I think.
Shuck. Okay. Shuck. If he's healthy, all 3 are gonna get playing time. And I was like, I don't know how much I believe that, but the old saying, like, if you got multiple quarterbacks, you got no starting quarterbacks or whatever it is. That's never a recipe for success. Even the article that was a pretty favorable tech website was like, that's gonna be a disaster. Like, that's just gonna go. So I was like, okay. So I would say I guess they're in a rebuilding phase themselves. But I'm glad you touched on Tyree Wilson. That guy's a stud. He's going to be an NFL prospect. But if we want to use the transitive property here, they barely beat U of H. They barely beat U of H and rushed the field for that. But 25 ranked U of H, and then UTSA took U of H to overtime, so that means all those teams are trash, and we should be able to get the win. I'm telling you, I am not scared of this Tech team. If I haven't made it clear enough, I think we'll have a scare. Absolutely, if UTSA can scare us, they can scare us as well. I think we'll have a scare, but I think we just have too much talent to outmatch them, and if I'm gonna drink this Kool-Aid that this team is different and the culture has changed a little bit, I'm gonna drink it for this game for sure. If we get Quinn back, I am not even blinking. But yeah, I think we'll have more problems against their defense than worrying about our. I mean, UTSA was carried by their quarterback, and this team doesn't have a true killer back there. So, yeah, I'm not too worried. I am worried. I'm not gonna say that. I'll take that back because anything can fucking happen. But this is less of like a super upset than what UTSA was for sure in my eyes.
Agreed. I mean, really, what I think the big, and we'll transition into keys to the game here in a bit, but I think like the big deciding factor here with this game is, does Quinn Ewers start or not? Because if he starts, Texas has all the advantage in the world, because one thing that we haven't touched on about Texas Tech's defense is their secondary is very shaky and they're very prone to giving up big plays. So get Quinn Ewers back, who can deliver the deep ball, and Xavier Worthy's going to go off. But if Hudson Card starts, Texas Tech, their run defense is very good. So it's basically like we're either going to, exploit a giant weakness, or we're going to have to rely on the strength of their defense. Like we're facing their strength. So it's really one of two options, which I think is probably, if I had to guess, I would say that Quinn does get the start for that reason. Again, we should be able to still beat him, even if we went with Hudson Card and went more of a ground attack, even facing, their strength of their defense. But that would be my guess here, and my inclination is, we're going to try to make sure that we're exposing the weakest part of them on the defensive side, and then also, on the offensive side. One thing we do have to be cognizant of is their receiving core, even though it's talented and a little unproven. They got some big body guys. So Ryan Watts and some of these other people need to make sure that they are doing what they can to prepare for that, and working on their jump balls, bodying guys. I don't want to see the super soft coverage that we saw against UTSA. I want us to press them. And I think that that'll be a lot more effective. And be ready for an errant throw from some of these Texas Tech quarterbacks that are struggling with turnovers right now. So I think those are pretty notable things to look out for and kind of deciding factors in this game. All right, so before we hop into keys to the game and predictions for the Texas Tech game, we were just literally, as we were taking a quick break between recordings, we got the notification that Overshown did not get the targeting call overturned, so he will be out the first half of the Texas Tech game. We obviously have some strong thoughts about this. So Myers, lead it off. Just give your thoughts.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, in the era of player empowerment, and the athlete's always right, NIL, empower these young kids. I can't believe that they make these players go through all these off-season, all this stuff they have to do to play on Saturdays. And then DeMarvion Overshown just goes and makes a form tackle. And it's just like
form
Madrid
tackle.
I know. And now he's just out. It's like Roy Miller tweeted it. And I'm kind of, I understand the rule. I understand not overturning it because it was face mask to face mask, which is just football. But I understand that's the new rule. The rule is stupid. Roy Miller said it best on Twitter. They throw this rule in there just to blame concussions on the kids. That's a part of it's a part of the sport, and they're just trying to dish blame onto the players. And it's not their fault. I mean, it's a bang bang play. The ref didn't even call it. He was right there, just stared at it. Frank Harris comes up slow, and then they start talking maybe that was targeting. Yeah. And then it makes me sick. I mean, we need DeMarvion really bad. Like I said, our linebacker depth is not great, so it sucks that he's going to be out in the first half.
No, the worst part about it is that look, Frank Harris, love you, but it's just because he's small. Like if it's like I don't know any bigger quarterback, DeMarvion Overshown's like hitting his chest, but the fact that he's a smaller guy, like, and if you saw it, I mean, at least I saw it even in real time. DeMarvion, he didn't lead with his head. He came up like the way you're supposed to tackle, like
proper
it was a form
tackle.
It's look,
Perfect form.
He's in the motion, and was he just to assume that Frank's like gonna fall all the way down? What if Frank spins on a dime or something? Like, and we're just supposed to let him down? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's just not only that, it's just like we've been through this. It's been like 4 years. Like you're gonna eject them and suspend them for the first half of the game.
Yeah.
What? Why both? Why both?
It's awful.
It's pick one, man. Pick one. I don't understand. And the fact that you can't even like, the fact that you can just call it afterwards like that. Did it happen on review? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happened on yeah. But like you can't like review intentional grounding or a safety or whatever happened with Bryce Young in the end zone, but you can review targeting. Like, dude, it's football, man. I'm sorry. Sometimes a helmet's gonna hit a helmet. And the thing is, what's so freaking maddening about the rule is that fans, everyone knows what targeting looks like. You can tell what targeting looks like. You know when say, hey man, you were using your head as a weapon right there. This was a tackle. This happens to a running back, to a lineman every freaking play, man. Like, oh my God. Like everyone knows
review every play. Review every play, and they're gonna find helmet to helmet.
Find a helmet to helmet contact.
It's every play.
I'm sorry, this is the game, man. You look. I appreciate you trying to make this game safer, and it needed to be made safer. But now you're just not making it the game anymore. It's not the game. I don't know. DeMarvion, you can't tell me he can't look. Sure, he got it. Would have gone. Maybe she should have gone lower, but like he was already low. Like he's a big guy. Like. I don't know, man. It's just maddening.
No, I want to add one thing, Trevor, before I hand it back to you.
Sure.
Go watch that Hudson Card run where he ran 30 yards or whatever, like down the middle of the field, and he's sliding, and then a UTSA
the guy dives at him,
spears him, going to the ground head first at his head. I don't know if he hit his head or not, but he launched head first at a sliding Hudson Card. No call. But DeMarvion makes a form tackle on a guy that's been slippery all day. Like we couldn't touch him. He finally grabbed him and just tackled him straight up. And that's targeting. It's just a joke. It's sickening. I feel bad for the players, and it's going to screw our team.
Yeah. I don't understand how season after season this continues to not be fixed, because it's very evident that the players hate it, the coaches hate it. I even hear that the refs hate it. Like a lot of the times I hear like for instance, one of the refs, maybe even that called this was like, yeah, it's a stupid call, but it's what we have to make. Like, which again, whatever.
You have to make, you miss a lot of calls, bro. You don't have to make that call.
But you know, it's something that doesn't make sense. I mean, there's been players that have been kicked out or have missed halves of national championship games because of this stupid rule. Like the biggest game of their lives, you know, people are getting ejected or missing halves because of this, which I think is criminal, you know, like enforce a penalty on it. And yeah, if you need to eject it for like a super malicious intent, like maybe that LSU targeting call in the first game of the year against FSU, like that was pretty
why can't you have like the NBA, like flagrant ones, flagrant two?
Exactly.
Have like targeting one, targeting two, like because not all targeting is the same, obviously.
No, anything to, you know, adjust this to make it a little more not affect the game and punish a player so much for it's ridiculous. And the fact that this continues to happen year after year after year is criminal. And I just want to know, like, who's in charge of this? Like, is this all on the referee association, or I don't know, like who's making these rules? Because no one likes them at all. Everyone argues against this. The national media is even like, hey, we need to do away with this targeting stuff and modify, you know, the rules here with the level of punishment that we put on these players. And it's just like, why why.
It's also just
So
hurting the product too. Like it's just
yeah, it is. It
no one
is.
wants to see
It's-
players suspended for a half like that.
no, no one does. So unfortunate and frustrating, but I at the same time I don't think we're surprised because this has continued to be an issue for so long. And honestly, again, I know that we're Texas fans, but Texas continues to get, almost phantom calls. So I just anticipate more to come, unfortunately, because we're seeming to get that this season with pretty much every game that we've played in. So maybe that's something we have to consider every time we project a score. Is we always going to be like, okay, well, make sure we're accounting for the time that we're going to get royally screwed. So ridiculous.
Look, before we move on, that the hit that Dallas Turner put on Quinn was more egregious than what DeMarvion did to Frank Harris. Like that was more egregious. That was more bush league, if you want to call it. Like holding a guy's arm back and putting all your weight on him. Like
and they did call that. They called it.
It wasn't targeting though.
No,
I mean, yeah, but like what I'm kind of getting at is that's treated lesser than what DeMarvion did. So
yeah, like what are you encouraging your players to do by this? Like, what could have are you encouraging DeMarvion to just go for his legs? Because that's going to create an
slow
injury.
down. Like that's how you get hurt too. Like
no, yeah. You're gonna encourage people to just like start chopping people, which is that's not safe. Yeah. Silly. Myers, did you have any final thoughts?
No, man, I just got angry for no reason on a Wednesday afternoon. So let's go to the keys of the game.
Let's do it. It was nice to interrupt for some breaking news though. I mean, it won't be breaking by the time the video comes out, but it just was for us. So those emotions were fresh. Myers, I will lead it back to you. Kind of give me your keys to the game.
Right. So I think Trevor kind of brought it up earlier in the video. We need to be able to run on this team. And that's kind of a challenge because that's the strength of their team is so far has been the run defense. Because even if Quinn's back, I'm not going to count. I mean, probably will end up throwing bombs downfield to Worthy and stuff, but I'm not going to like bank on that as being there all day. So we need to definitely improve, take a step forward. We knew coming into the season that the O-line was going to be a work in progress. Since they were so young, we knew it would take some time for them to gel. And they're great in pass pro, but the run block needs to improve. So hopefully we see some of that where we can just sustain drives because we can't just have a situation where we have, let's say Hudson Card plays and then the running game is shut down. Then we're going 3 and out and then our defense gets tired. And then Donovan Smith starts running on our defense. Secondly, I want to see our defense continue to keep that energy that we've been playing with at DKR. I mean, we've been playing great in terms of like running to the ball, gang tackling, just rallying to the ball. And Texas Tech has been doing that too. I mean, we have a lot of belief in this team right now, but so does Texas Tech. They're drinking that Joey McGuire Kool-Aid. Their defense is playing with a chip on their shoulder as well. So I want to see us really match that intensity on the road where we don't have the crowd behind us. And then obviously turnovers are going to be, we need to win the turnover battle because there's no reason we shouldn't against Donovan Smith. So those are just kind of some basic thoughts that I have about the game. And then also Bert Auburn, keep making the kicks, but just please don't. Every time we kick a field goal, I'm like, something's going to go wrong with the snap. Something's going to get blocked. So everybody around Bert Auburn, please just get better this week and make sure we're not leaving points off the board because Bert Auburn's doing his job. Everybody else needs to carry their weight.
Simple for me. Matt, you touched on it already, but I want turnovers and I want sacks, mainly sacks, because I feel like we can get to them or get to this guy. Just what we've seen in the past few games from him. I want to be able to exploit that type of matchup. We weren't able to against UTSA just because of Frank's pure skill, but I feel like this time is where we really need that. And mainly, I just want to play. I just want to feel ready from the start. Look, I don't care if we like get down a little bit. Like it's football, whatever. You got to play. You got to play. Sometimes you got to come back, but just like I don't want a sluggish start again. I want us to look like we're ready to go from the get go, and just play with intensity really early. And if Quinn comes back, I know you guys said throw the ball around, but I'm dying for a Xavier Worthy like long touchdown or a deep crosser or something. So if he plays, I want that RPO game and the deep ball game to go off.
Well said. I think both of y'all have kind of covered everything.
Yeah, Trevor.
All the
I'm
main
sorry.
stories.
I'm sorry, bro. We
Next
all
week
want the
you
same
go first.
things.
Next week you go first, Trevor. On the
No. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I guess additional thing is just I want to see how we handle our road atmosphere. Obviously the Alabama game was a big loud atmosphere, but that was at home. It's another thing when you're on the road and you're getting tortillas tossed at you on kickoff. So I just want to see how we can handle it. I want to see how the O-line, which is very young, can handle a silent snap count because they're going to need to do that. They're going to need to be prepared for that as we enter into other hostile environments like in Oklahoma State later on down the road. So yeah, that's a key to the game is just seeing like continue to allow this team to gain confidence by playing in a hostile road situation and be able to hold up and play good clean football without too many penalties or turnovers, because I'm sure we're going to get some, and I am a little bit worried about our O-line, not so much in terms of the actual play, but I want to see if they're disciplined enough to handle the atmosphere that they're going to be walking into. And I need Xavier Worthy to like start balling because he has it in him, and I don't think a lot of it's been his fault. He's been getting a lot of balls that have been overthrown, but I mean he's dropped a lot of balls too this season, and from Quinn and from Hudson. So regardless of who starts, I want this to be a get right game for him. And if it is Quinn, I think that, there's a good shot that that'll be the case because we need to get that deep ball back. That's like a big component of Sark's offense, and that'll ultimately make everything else better. So, yeah, assuming that Quinn starts, that's the key of the game is just getting that deep ball back and reestablishing confidence with that and the offensive scheme, and just being able to handle a very loud environment. Score predictions.
All right, I'll go first. I have Texas winning 37-27, but I think this is going to go just like last week, actually. I think we're going to start off slow, go down, melt down on Twitter, and then all of a sudden we're going to kind of lock in. Gary Patterson's going to lose some brain cells yelling at people, and then we're going to realize we're the better team. We're going to start running the ball, and it's going to start opening up. If Quinn plays, I wouldn't be surprised to see an early interception just because he's going to be rusty and it's going to be a hostile environment. But I think we're going to settle in second half and pull away and win by 10, cover. 37-27 Texas.
Yeah, 5.5.5.5.5 point favorites, touchdown favorites. I thought that's a little close, especially for a team that we dropped 70 on last year with a inferior team as well. I don't know about that line. I guess they're factoring new coach and how much everyone hates us. So I still got us winning 45-27. Matt said same thing. There will be a scare, but it will just be too much, especially on the outside, and especially if Quinn plays. So yeah, give me 45-27 us.
I got something pretty similar, 47-31. So yeah, I think we're all kind of thinking the same thing. It'd be nice to see us, get a comfortable lead and then maybe have Tech kind of rally back. But I think we all are expecting Tech to come out on fire because, I'm thinking back to the last time that we played Tech in Lubbock, and that's exactly what happened. Well, actually, no. What happened in 2020 is we had a lead. and then our offense went super stale and Tech just came roaring back, and then we eventually tied it up and went into overtime with them. So yeah, I think what we're all coming to the conclusion of is that we should be able to beat Tech pretty comfortably, but they're absolutely going to make it a game because they always do, especially in Lubbock, I feel like. So yeah, any final thoughts before we wrap up this show?
Don't worry about Jalen Hill. We have amazing wide receiver core to come. Don't freak out about that stuff.
Yeah. Rip Jalen Hale. It's all good.
Yeah.
We'll get someone better.
Yeah, the portal does exist. So
Exactly.
There's that's the one nice thing about losing out on some of the key recruits. I mean, there's certain, recruits that you just can't afford to lose out on, like an Arch Manning, but yeah, good thing for us is we have Sark and we have the portal. So and we're gonna have crazy receiver depth next season. My goodness, it'll be worthy. Nair will be back. We'll have Cook on the team. And there's other guys too. Ajay Hall, another year in the system. Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing a big name.
Brendan Thompson?
No. Isn't there another guy that's coming? Anyway. Maybe not. Yeah, but still that's pretty damn good depth. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for watching. And if you made it all the way through, make sure you drop us a like if you are subscribed. If you're not subscribed, do both. Would really help. And hopefully Texas can get their first road win of the season and do so convincingly. And Quinn, if you are healthy and able to play and you have a good game, the hype train will be back, and hopefully Texas will start rolling again. So with all that, horns up. Y'all take care. See you in the next one. Welcome.